Hi, everyone. I'm Lana Zak. There are new questions about the health of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un after his absence from Army Day celebrations in North Korea on Saturday. This is the second major holiday that the Supreme Leader has missed in recent weeks. On April 11th, state-run media released images of Kim holding a coronavirus planning meeting. 4 days later, Kim was uncharacteristically absent during one of the most sacred holidays in North Korea, missing the Day of the Sun celebrations, which honor the late grandfather and founder of North Korea, Kim Il-sung. So in his absence, rumors have circulated about the Supreme Leader's health. Some have even questioned if the North Korean leader is still alive. So for more on this, I want to bring in Alex Ward. He's a staff writer at Vox covering international security and defense issues. Alex, we know that Kim has pre-existing health issues. What are you hearing is the latest on his health and well-being?
So we're still in the rumor phase. That said, there are reports that there may be Chinese medical officials coming into North Korea to perhaps consult on his health status. But the rumors are really everywhere at this point. They range from he's just fine and recovering at a nearby facility, that he's gravely ill and maybe on the verge of death, and even that he is dead. And so it's really hard to know right now. It's all speculation. But at the moment, the notion of, oh, he may be in real trouble, that seems to have dissipated more in recent days.
Well, North Korean media has been extremely tight-lipped about the status of Kim. Some outlets have even gone as far as publishing some of his old statements in an effort to maintain a sense of normalcy. Can you tell us and explain to our viewers why we're so in the dark about what's actually going on there?
So a couple of reasons. The first would be that intelligence is really hard to come by in North Korea. And so even though the United States intelligence officials I speak to say, we're doing okay, we have enough stuff, it is always really hard to know the inner workings of the Kim regime, and especially his health and who's around him. The other is the culture of the secrecy in the country. Every piece of information is tightly controlled. There's a large propaganda campaign. A lot of what comes out of the country is based on rumor. And so it's hard to confirm really anything, especially something as tightly guarded as the leader's health. So between a lack of information and the way North Korea actually operates, it's just really hard to get a sense of what's going on in that country.
Yeah, I thought that the idea that they were releasing old statements seemed particularly strange. Is that the first time that North Korean state-run media has done that?
It's not. They tend to do it when there's nothing new to announce, in the same way that American media sometimes goes, President Trump said XYZ thing a couple of days ago. What's interesting now is, though, that since we have not seen images of Kim at the Army parade on Saturday, and especially at the ceremony for his grandfather on the 15th, and a massive holiday for North Korea, it is led to speculation that he is not around, of course. We don't see new images of him, speculation as to why he's not around. And so it seems like there's a filler happening, that as state-run media sort of scrambles on what to say and what to do, they obviously can't say what's going on with Kim, which is what fuels speculation, but they're just trying to kind of fill in information at the time.
And this obviously isn't the first time that Kim has disappeared from the public view. But there's something actually that's a bit different about this. Can you explain that to our viewers?
What's really different is how he's missing these major holidays. Again, the fact that he is not around for the biggest celebration for his grandfather, Day of the Sun, for this army situation, and of course that we know that he's just in general bad health. So that's what makes this a bit different. And in terms of just him. Now, why are we sort of all speculating so wildly? Well, part of it is because we don't know what comes next. Who would take charge if Kim Jong-un were to be incapacitated or, in fact, dead? Would it be his sister, Kim Yo-jong, who he has given immense power, and she herself has put out statements under her own name, and, of course, met with officials, including South Korean President Moon Jae-in? It could be a brother. It could be who had been passed on before. It could be a military general. The scenarios of the United States are actually quite troubling, because if Kim is alive, then things kind of continue as normal. If it's a new leader, there could be some internal tensions as to how that person consolidates power. And if he's dead, you could see a power struggle, one that we haven't really ever seen in North Korea. And especially, as experts tell me, if the military were to take over, that could prove quite dangerous to the United States, especially since troops in North Korea tend to be a bit more antagonistic towards the United States.
And this obviously isn't the first time either that when there has been a problem with a leader's health in North Korea, that it's been kept private from the rest of the world. When Kim Jong-un's father died, it was 2 days before we learned about it at all. And at that point, it wasn't even clear that Kim Jong-un would be the successor necessarily. So can you tell us a little bit more about what those different lines of succession could potentially mean? We know how well he gets along with his sister. We know that he doesn't get along particularly well with his brother. But also the idea that the military could come in, which you started to mention. Give us a little bit more of that context and what it could mean for our viewers.
Sure. So if you like the way U.S.-North Korea relations are going with these showpiece events, summits between Trump and Kim, you want Kim to still be the leader. That would effectively continue our policy under Trump. If Trump were to, of course, lose to Biden, that could change. Biden has said he would not meet with Kim. But if Trump were to win, one could see that policy continuing, even though Kim continues to make weapons. If he were to be incapacitated, which is something no one's really planned for, that Kim is still sort of around, but people are struggling for power. Well, that would lead to a pretty big fight, but not only between sort of Kim's inner circle, and again, odds-on favorite would be Kim Yo-jong, his sister, to take over, but that would be new for the regime. Again, someone who kind of comes in based on after a sick sibling in this case, and it would be a woman leading the country, which some people are skeptical, might be seen as a legitimate leader, although that's ridiculous in a sense, in many senses, actually. And of course, Kim Yo-jong, whoever may be, who would come in, would have to start to try to consolidate power. I mean, dictators have politics too. Trying to get a lot of people in the party in line, getting the military to follow the rule, that's all difficult. And then if the military were to take over, and they can because they have a lot of influence and power, almost any image of Kim Jong-un, especially when he's doing missile tests, you see with generals around clapping and celebrating. They have to show legitimacy to the people. They also like using military tools and tend to be more antagonistic towards the United States. And so some people worry that they could launch an ICBM, an intercontinental ballistic missile, even further than North Korea already has, perhaps closer to the United States. And at that point, it'd be really hard for Trump or Biden or really any American leader to ignore the North Korean threat, and we'd be in a much worse situation than we are now.